thank you guys for joining again. Another week, another weekly discussion. Today's discussion is on money and manifestation, the misconceptions. But first, let's get to know each other a little bit better, as we have someone new as well. So Eleanor, welcome. Today, I would like to share something fun and interesting that you've experienced lately. Eleanor, do you want to go first?
Oh, put me on the spot. You might have to get back to me. That's okay.
That's fine. Jenny?
It's kind of hard to think of things at the moment, but
I know when you're put on the spot, it's like a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I went to the beach. That was good.
Nice. Beach is always good.
Yeah,
Christo?
it was nice to just go somewhere else.
I got up twice for the sunrise this week, which was pretty awesome. Even though I had a little sleep, it's funny, the struggle to get up is real, but then once you get up and you actually see the sunrise, you're filled with this amazing energy, and you realize, oh God, why haven't I been doing this the whole time?
That is incredible. I love that. Christina, something fun and interesting you've experienced lately?
Well, I don't know how much fun or interest it is for you, but this morning I spotted that on my little tiny balcony I have some vegetables growing, and this morning I saw the first flower on my cucumber plant, which I'm really blessed, because they had some issues, I don't know, with some little fleas or so on it, and I had to treat it with some miracle plant fertilizer stuff, and I actually thought they're gonna die. So, but now there's the first flower coming out, which makes me really happy.
So it's surviving and thriving.
Yes.
Incredible, thank you. Livia?
Yeah, kind of the same thing as Christina. I was just out in my garden yesterday, and it's to do with cucumbers too. I was watering my garden in the morning, and like barely any of them were popping out of the ground. Then I went out to water in the evening, and they were all up.
That's crazy.
All up out of the ground. And that just made me really happy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when plants survive, it makes me happy, because I tend to not be very good at looking after plants, sadly. Something I'm trying to work on. So yeah, something fun and interesting that I've experienced lately is I am currently reading this book called How to Coach Yourself, and it's partly a book that you read, but also like you have to do exercises along with it. So there's like a lot of exercises throughout the book that you kind of like have to put pen and paper to, kind of delving into self, I suppose. And I am learning a lot about myself and a lot about my past, and why I've created some bad habits, you know. So that's quite interesting for me. Eleanor, should I come back to you?
Yeah. It's actually about plants too. I'm doing a plant medicine course right now, and our task was to connect with a plant consciousness of our choice. And I connected with an olive tree that's been in my life since I was a kid, and had a really profound healing experience for the first time out of ceremony with plant consciousness. So that was really, really incredible. Yeah.
That does sound incredible. Thank you. Hi, Yasmin. I know you've just come in. We're sharing something fun and interesting that you've experienced lately.
Did everyone go ahead already?
Yeah.
Interesting. I've not been sleeping, so that's like the first thing that popped in my head.
Why is that?
Oh, I have no idea. The energy's like just random. And
yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people are struggling at the moment with sleep.
But I had, like, before yesterday, I kind of accessed this really peaceful place in myself, and I could like feel myself relaxing, and that's been a struggle for lots of months. So I was like, wow, I could do it. But a really exciting thing happened today is that I connected with somebody that I've been working with, and her story was so similar to mine. And when I did a card reading for her, it just felt really good to meet Soul Tribe basically and connect. So that's
Incredible. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. So, what's the first thought, shall I say? What is the first thought that comes to mind when you think about money? So for me, I still have quite a negative relationship with money, I feel. So the first thought for me is evil, and I don't know why, but that is just like my first thought. Yasmin, what's the first thought for you?
an energy exchange. Like I've had a lot of negative programming around money in the past, and my answer probably would have been something like, oh, it doesn't grow on trees and it's difficult, and kind of like whenever I mention the subject, that's what my dad will start saying. But I did some major shifts on it, and it allowed me to realize like, okay, what I actually feel about it is not very much. It's like just a resource. It's like an extension of our own energy, and it allows us to do things. That's kind of where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah, I have heard this before. This is something I'm trying to work on. My conditioning is still quite heavy and attached to that, actually. Christo?
Yasmin pretty much pulled the words out of my mouth like she did on the last call as well. So, yeah, I agree with everything that Yasmin just said, to be honest with you. I was going to say exactly those words. No word.
Okay, cool. Amazing. So starting off on a positive note. Livia?
Well, my thought on it when I think about money is, why do we need it? That's just what comes to my mind. Why do we need it? Like, I'd rather trade or not have to have this specific thing to be able to get what we want, you know? It's kind of like a power hold on people.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. Christina?
For me, the first thought is actually positive. I really like especially spending money. I don't know. I think like you obviously cannot buy love, but or friendship or honesty, but there is a lot of materialistic things and services that you can get with money that benefit myself and the growth for myself, for my surrounding. I'm not just thinking of a car to be able to move easier and have certain distances, being able to visit my parents and so on, but also with money I can have a healing session or do a course in something that I want to develop or further my skills on. So for me it's actually rather positive.
Okay, thank you. Eleanor?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was about to say, well, the first thing that came to my head was money doesn't buy you happiness. And then what Christina just said really hit me. It's like, actually, you can pay for healing, right? And coaching and all that stuff, which is what I've been investing all my money in the past year. But I'm having a really interesting time with working around money, because now I'm offering services, but for free. And I have this blockage that I don't want to charge people. I don't think that healing should be charged. But then I'm like, yeah, but what about all the other people? Of course, like they deserve money for their services, right? Their energy exchange. So I'm in a really strange position with money right now.
Yeah. Eleanor, I can so relate to what you're going through, because I feel that block as well. And I do feel that conflict as well. you know, should you be charging for these services? But yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to explore today, you know.
Yeah, amazing.
So what's the first thought that comes to mind when you think about manifesting? For me, when I think about manifesting, I was thinking about it last night, and I have like two conflictual thoughts. So one came up about lack. Like if I'm thinking about manifesting something, I'm obviously thinking that I'm lacking something, or there's something in my life that I need, right? But on the other hand, like the first thing that came to my thought when I thought about manifesting was instant. Like I want it instantly, or impatience or something, you know. So yeah, Christo, what do you think?
Yeah, I can see where that perception could come from, actually. Personally, I see manifestation as aligning with the creative source. So rather than impatiently wanting something now, allowing for something that already exists in the quantum potential and just stepping out of the way of your resistance so that it can appear in this manifest reality, the physical reality.
Yeah. Livia?
Yeah, pretty much what Christo just said, and a little bit of what you said on how it's you want something now. I'm in between that, in between what you said and then what Christo said. I'm in like that thought process about it.
Yeah. Christina?
For me, manifestation is also focus. So for me, it's like bringing all the energy together and realizing what it really is that I want or need, and then bringing the full attention to that. And by the full attention, I mean understanding why I need it or why I want it, what the benefit out of that is, and as well what it is that I have to put in to be able to reach that. So for me, it's really a search of, you know, collecting all the bits and pieces that are surrounding you, and bringing them together into the focus to reach that.
Amazing, thank you. Eleanor?
I'm actually on the same wavelength as Christos. The first time I learned about manifestation was from Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreat, which I attended a year ago. And learning if we are creators of our own lives, we are constantly manifesting, right? We are creators. And imagination is creation, I believe. So whatever our intention is, whatever we think, whatever we're vibrating is reflected back to us.
That's really interesting. That sparked a little question for me, but I'm going to save it. Jenny? Actually, I don't know if she's there. Yasmin?
I resonate also with, if you can imagine something, then you can pour the creative force into engaging with it in your reality, because there's some reason that you want to explore it or do something with it. But it is also, at the end of the day, I think, about alignment, because we can want all kinds of things from certain limited mindsets and not know why we want them. They might not be the best thing for us. So I'm happy that it's not instant, that it's not like I want that and then it happens and then you have to face that. In a way, it's like it just gives you chances to figure it out. Like, is this what you actually want? But I think it's also important to bring in the discussion of energy types, like, for example, the human design system. And while we're all creators and we can all imagine and we can all manifest to varying degrees, there's a really precise reason why there are different energy types, because I think some people are more gifted at magnifying others' manifestations. Others are more gifted at reflecting people's manifestations back to them and saying, is this what you wanted? And then a generator is more hands-on than a manifester. And like the energy, you know, it works to work with what your energy type is. But at the end of the day, we all want things, we all align, and we can all bring them into reality.
Yeah, this has sparked quite a few questions for me, actually. My first question was actually that came to my head when Eleanor spoke was, so we obviously manifest unconsciously. So do we need to manifest consciously? Is this something that we actually need to do? Does anyone want to share on this?
I actually want to share a story that happened, which is kind of answering this question.
Yes.
This is in an ayahuasca ceremony. I was working with a shaman in Panama, and okay, this is kind of having to now share personal stuff, but I had this unconscious programming from my childhood that I didn't get attention from my parents, so I had to get attention in other ways. So I would create stories to get attention and sympathy from others. And I created a story that I was pregnant when I actually wasn't. And because of that, energetically, I created a problem in my womb. And the shaman said, there's something going on here. Like, did you create something unconsciously? And because she felt that the energy wasn't real. It was like fake energy, like synthetic energy. And I told her the story, and she goes, yeah, like, we need to get this out. Like, it's going to cause you problems in the future. And then I had just had this biggest lesson that I need to stop manifesting and creating unconsciously, because it's like hurting my actual body and creating disease in my body. Yeah.
That's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Does anyone want to add to what Eleanor shared?
Yeah, I just want to add that intent is important. Like, it's our intent behind it. So if we're conscious of what it is that we're manifesting, there's usually an intent. It's like, I want this because of that. And we're very, very, very powerful. So when we align our will and our intent with something, like Christina was saying about attention. So yes, things are coming to us in general, according to our soul contracts and all of that stuff. But there's a reason why rituals work. They're literally structured and regimented focusing of energy and attention. And it's going to shift things faster than just, hoping for the best over 6 years, rather than sitting there and saying, look, this is what I'm trying to do. And then the universe can kind of respond to that.
Yeah, that makes sense. The second question that I had was, for example, take someone who's wealthy financially, and they aren't like consciously manifesting. They're not aware spiritually. They're not connected within. They're just living their everyday life. But they're wealthy and they're succeeding financially. How are they able to do that? Is it a mindset that they have? Is it something like unconsciously happening behind the scenes that is enabling them to manifest that life? Does anyone have an opinion on this?
I'd say it's just like the mindset, like you say. They've got positive programming. The programming that they've got when they grew up was like a positive one around money or manifesting or whatever. So it's just something that comes naturally to them, because it's very much to do with like the environment that you brought up in, isn't it? So if you're brought up by parents or in an environment where like you've got a positive outlook on money, then if you grow up in a wealthy family and money's just always there and it's easy, then one of my best friends, she's really wealthy, and she just like doesn't think twice about money. She just knows that money is always there. Like, she literally like just always has like £20 notes falling out of her pockets and stuff, because that's the programming that she grew up in. And like, I lived with her for a year and a half, and she could never understand why I struggled so much with money, and she would just literally be there with it like flying out of her pockets and stuff. It was funny. But yeah,
it's really interesting that you say that.
Yeah, she just grew up like in a wealthy family, so to her, like, money's just always there. It just comes to her easily. So I think it's very much to do with that.
Yeah.
That's really important. because it shows that it's not so much about the money itself, and it's about the example that you've received around anything. What are the attributions and associations that you've made? And I really like that story in terms of bias, because it can just show that it just wasn't a problem to this person just because of having been exposed in a certain way. And it's not necessarily that it was a concept of traps of like, oh, it's a number thing. Like, of course you would be happy you actually earn more. But Alex, back to your question about why would somebody that's earning all that much, what would be happening? The first thing I thought was typically they're less neurotic in a lot of ways. Like, there's no blocks around this stuff. Like, there's no reason to step in front of yourself or think about it twice. So, and energetically, as soon as you make some, you make it easier. So it's kind of like, it's just snowballing. But yeah, to get there, like, there's some blocks that probably from negative programming we have.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Kind of ties in with last week's conversation, I guess, about indoctrination. So what is money and how can we manifest it? As we've obviously discussed, that a couple of you believe that money is an energy exchange. And the reason why I have written it here is because this is something that I do keep hearing. And I am trying to like rewire my brain around this. So what if we perceived money as an energy exchange? And if money is energy, then do we need to attract it? Because surely it's all around us. Yeah, I don't know, like, who wants to add to that? Christo?
I'm not sure we need to attract it. I mean, we can choose to attract it if we feel that it's necessary for something that we want to do. Everything is energy. Like, I mean, paper is energy and money is paper. But we don't need to keep attracting paper, blank paper. So everything is energy. We are energy, but it's just it's the use case for this specific energy that we can use to transform it into another energy, which could be used to, I don't know, cheer somebody else up or make somebody else feel good or make a positive impact in the world. Or it could just be something for us to, I don't know, if you like tea and you want to buy a tea that you really enjoy, go buy the tea and enjoy the tea. So I don't think we need to attract it. And yes, it's all around us and we can attract it if we shall choose. But it's a choice.
No, I like that. Thank you. Olivia, did you want to add to this?
Not really to this, because Christo basically said what I was thinking.
You're connected. Yasmin? You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Okay. It needs to be said that as a concept itself, it's neutral, because it is exchange for services or exchange for value. However, the system that we're currently working with is non-existent. We're in debt. There's nothing to back what we're actually shifting around. It's what we're attributing to it. It literally is little pieces of money, paper, and a lot of it is blood money. A lot of it has enslaved us for what it stands for and what we engage with by using it. So that's part of the programming that we need to shift. And it ties into, okay, maybe those things need to be drained, completely shut down, and something different reinstated. But this brings me to a sensitive topic about the duality that we've already exposed in this conversation concerning money. On one hand, we have the discomfort from our own programs and a desire to unplug from it because maybe we haven't been successful making it. So we say, I don't know why it exists. I wish that it didn't exist, that we didn't need to use that. On the other hand of that duality, we have freedom. Then it's not a social credit system or something that's solely an entity coming in saying, we're going to turn everything digital for you. And then there's no way that you can basically exchange whatever you want for what you want, which is basically how trading actually operates. So those two extremes is where in the center it's actually, at the end of the day, exchange for value. And our societies have taken us away from value, real value. We don't think about the actual sweat and tears of people producing things. We're not aware of that money like funneling through the processed food and, you know, the sweatshops. Like, we're not conscious of the ritual we're engaging in. So bringing it back for ourselves to the energy and the value is, I think, how we can shift some of these narratives.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jenny, did you want to add to this?
The only thing I've really got to add is I've heard a few people kind of explain it like money is kind of, well, money exchange is the same as breathing in and out. So it's like, it's this abundance that's always available to you if you tapped into it. That, you know, when you breathe in, you're not worried, or when you breathe out, you're not worried that there's not going to be any air there to breathe back in again. And so it should be this like really fluid flow of money to you and from you. I've not quite experienced this yet, but I like it as a concept.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Especially as Christo was saying, everything is energy and it is all around us, you know. This is something that I'm really trying to rewire my brain around money. I do have such like negative conditioning when it comes to money. Eleanor, did you want to share on this?
Yeah, I've been to quite a few retreats, and a lot of things that I've heard around this is, if you align to your purpose, right, by connecting to your heart and removing the layers that are not us, and then you find your calling and your passion, which is usually to be of service in some way, right? Then the universe will give you everything that you need to create that, to fulfill that purpose. So it's kind of also having trust and faith and surrendering to everything I need will find its way to me, including resources and the right people at the right time. So yeah, I'm just trying to surrender to that. I also had an experience in the bathtub. I have like this bath ritual, and the moon came to me and she told me that because I want to create a retreat, and around this programming that, but I want my retreat to be for free, but then how can I run it? And she basically said to me, everything you need will come to you. You don't have to worry about it, because when you're being of service, because you're giving back, you will receive to give back more. So it's kind of like whatever you have, you've got to give a little bit of it back in some way, shape or form. And when you do that, more will come back to you. Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. I really like that perspective. Let me just see if Christina's back. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was really, really beautiful, Eleanor. Thank you so much. I actually really resonated with that. I feel like I have heard that somewhere before, as in when you are being service to others, you actually don't need to worry about anything financial or money. You know, like I have heard that concept before as well. So thank you. So where does the negative perception of money come from? And is this what is creating the lack? Maybe I've tailored this a little bit to my personal circumstances. I am experiencing like this feeling of lack. I don't know, like there is obviously a block going on for me, right? And I was really trying to think about it last night. I was like, where is this negative perception of money coming from? Like, where did I personally get this from? And I really feel like it does tie into the conversation that we were having last week about indoctrination and conditioning and being programmed. And for me, when I look back and I think, when I was growing up, I was taught that you have to work hard to earn money. It's hard work. Money is hard to get. You have to be good at this, or you have to have these qualifications to get good money. I don't know, there was a lot of blocks when I was like just going back in my head over it. I was just thinking, wow, actually, I've never really just sat and really thought about how many blocks I have in place that actually I need to face and work on and heal over, actually. But how do you guys feel about this? Like, where does the negative perception of money come from, and is this what is creating lack? Christo?
Well, I think one thing that you could think about is where the word economy comes from and what it actually means. And economy basically means based on scarcity, scarce resources. It's based on lack. So the whole economic mindset is based on lack. And so when you have a model that has this energy called money within it as its means of exchange, but it's based on lack, in combination with all of those programs through with the hard work and I need to know this and bills and everything like that, in combination with that, there's already an existence of the energy of lack within our grand collective consciousness because of the energy from which this whole idea is based upon or has been created from. So it's based on lack. That's why it creates lack. And then coming back to what Yasmin said, when you understand that a lot of this money is blood money and where it's actually stemming from, and there's just this energy that binds to the paper, or it binds to the concept of money, and then that affects us as well, especially us if we tend to be sensitive to those energies. And I was there for years. I really struggled. I mean, Elena and I went to the same school, and I remember being in the business class, and I stood up in that business class and I walked out, and I was just like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. My father had a business for years. I just didn't want to have to do anything to do with money. I just wanted to put myself into service in some way, or it was either service or creativity. So anyway, if we were to look at nature, and rather than looking at the word economy, we look at the word ecology, which is based on abundance, then if money was a concept within this system, where we come back to what Jenny said, the breathing in and out, the way that the trees are breathing in and out, and the mycelium underneath the mushrooms provide nutrients and communicate with the roots of the trees, and it's just this ebbing and flowing state of ease between nature that perpetuates itself, then there is no lack. It's just it's pure abundant flow based on this patient understanding or innate understanding within its own nature. And so we've just been fed this idea that it's all about the economy because we're worrying about these scarce resources, when actually it's not as scarce as we've been taught that it is. At least when we have the right habits in order to not dry up all the resources, right? So that's where it seems to create lack from, and combined with what you said with all the programming and all the things that we say and stuff like that. And plus, I think there is a level to this as well, that certain people want people to see money this way. Because whether or not you see money in a good way or a bad way, you still buy things. And they want you to buy things. Okay? So if you've got a bad relationship with money, but you're still buying things, you're not actually going out and becoming I suppose an effective cog in the system that's also bringing in the money for you, so you don't have to stress or struggle anymore. All you're doing is feeding into their little abundant bubble, right? So there is a level of just disconnect and misunderstanding around the whole thing, and it's just based on the whole system. Like, it's just based on the whole idea of economy and everything like that. But even coming back to what you said, Ellen, and I know I'm going on a bit here, but when we commit ourselves to service and we understand that the number one 100% return on investment is relationships, we become the richest people on the planet, because we just have this patience. We don't need anything, and we just welcome things into our lives. And then when that starts to revolve around this concept of money as well, then that starts to become more abundant. And we also use that resource to give it to others as well. And then by doing that, you're causing this positive ripple effect for other people to do it. And then we're creating that financial ecology. Anyway, I'm going on a bit here because this is my jam here, but
No, like I'm finding it really interesting. You're sparking a lot of thoughts for me, actually, Krista. The first thing that came up for me was fear and uncomfortability, actually, and that's obviously something that I'm going through and feeling. The other one, Eleanor, you mentioned about trust, actually having trust, and what was the other thing that you said, Krista, at the end? So it sparked a thought. It will come back to me anyway. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you. Yasmin, did you want to add to this?
Yeah, in particular with if we're following right practices and we're sustainably doing things with the land, then there's no, it doesn't end. Like, it makes sense, it regenerates itself and we're part of that cycle. So if our value is actually based in that, then the story would be very different. But I can see how what you said, Chris, was like, we're participating, but we're not participating in a way that liberates us and shifts the power and then allows us to invest into things that make sense. Because the problem is those that have that infinite potential are reinvesting it in themselves and their little corrupt things. That's a problem. It's like it just keeps expanding because of that. And the way that I see it is that if it shifts to somebody that really cares about their community, then they're going to change that community, and they're bit by bit going to change the world, because we're not living anymore in those stories of lack. And I don't believe that that's a spiritual perspective. I finally come through that. That was something I was stuck in for years, and I just couldn't break out of it. No matter how much I did things for people, I wouldn't allow myself to charge. I just wouldn't. It was like, it has to be free. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I was always burned out and resentful and sad because I didn't understand why it just worked for anybody else. So there's no one story that unites everybody's story, because money stories are very individual, and they're really related to the emotional valence that you attach to certain things. So we might have associated certain relationships with money and lack, this, that, and the other. And I went through a really intense course that addressed it on a subconscious, on a body level, and looked at all the different parts of money. So there was the borrowing. Did you ever give somebody money and then they didn't give it back? Toxic relationships around money. Where was there a power struggle? What was the money story growing up? What are the things that you just consistently heard? What about your own success? How has it felt to allow yourself? And when you get into that stuff, you find all the switch terms, you find, just all of it. We obviously don't really even align with it, but that's when that's what the story is kind of perpetuating certain things, and it needs to be shifted.
Yeah, I like how you broke that down, Yasmin. That was really interesting, especially like going back to the conditioning and where the conditioning stems from. Jenny, did you want to share on this?
I've not really got anything to add to what everyone else has said.
Okay. Eleanor?
Yeah, I really agree and love everything that Christos and Yasmin said. I really believe it comes from like the collective consciousness. It's like in our programming, right? Our conditioning. And I really believe that it's up to us to break that conditioning and rewire that. And then that is a ripple effect, which then gets put into the collective consciousness, what we put into it. And then I guess by transmuting that, we're then helping the collective consciousness to not have that lack. And then when you do this work and go on this spiritual journey, you do realize that we are divine spiritual beings, and we are born to have abundance. Like it's our birthright. And once you realize that, even that just melts away the programming. But yeah, all it is that our job is just to break this within us. And that's it. And there is no lack. And then at the end of the day, you realize there is no lack. Yeah.
That is incredible. Thank you. That actually just reminded me of a point, because I was listening to an entrepreneur yesterday, and he actually said, if you look at really successful and wealthy entrepreneurs, a bit like what Christo, you said, they share out the money. It's not about holding it or keeping it. It's actually like helping other people to also become wealthy as well. And it's about sharing the money, like you were saying, Christo, about the ripple effect. So yeah, I really agree with that. Thank you. Livia, did you want to share or add anything to this?
No, I didn't want to add anything out of this. Everybody else pretty much covered it.
I'll come to you soon, Olivia. Everyone keeps taking your thoughts. Christina?
Sorry, I think I need to skip that one. I literally just came back from my call.
Yeah, I didn't see whether you came back or not. We were just discussing, where does the negative perception of money come from, and is this what causes the lack?
I don't know. I actually wondering. I actually don't know. What were the comments you had, or what?
It was based around like conditioning, basically, and how you grew up around, like, what were your examples of money as you were growing up?
Perhaps it's also something that the way on how you get money is sometimes sometimes you have to adjust. Obviously, you have to get a job to earn money, and usually it's not something that you don't necessarily start with something that you love to do. It's not just you love every task that you do, and perhaps some misconception also comes from there, that it's kind of attached to, I have to, I cannot be really myself in order to earn money and then be able to spend it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. There is like a massive misconception around that, like not having to be yourself, or having to act a certain way, or having to do something to then become successful or get money,
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're self-employed, I think you face other challenges. But also actually I actually think also as well there. So how honest can you be, or how much can you be yourself if you sell a service or provide something in order to still get customers and still get like the money, and how much do you have to kind of adjust to the how you should be behaving, all the shoulds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. So what are the common misconceptions around manifesting? Let me just move this out of the way. 2 seconds. Yeah, so these are the ones that I really resonated with. So obviously we'll go around and you guys can add to them. You must obsess and fixate and focus on the thing that you want to manifest. I think this is like a really common misconception of manifestation. It's something that when I first came across it, as in, the law of attraction and manifesting, that you basically, you have to fixate and keep focusing on it every single day, but obviously obsession actually sabotages the flow of energy and creates resistance. And another misconception is manifesting is difficult and hard. The difficult part is releasing the resistance we have around the specific experiences and desires we wish to bring to life. This one really resonated with me because it really flipped it for me, especially when talking about resistance, because this is something I can tend to forget, actually, about resistance. And The Secret has all the answers. I'm sure, like, we've all come across the book The Secret at one point in our life. But actually, the law of vibration is much more important to understand than the law of attraction. So did anyone else want to add to this, or do you have any other misconceptions around manifesting that you resonate with, Livia?
For myself, it was the obsess and fixate and focusing. I used to think it had to be that way. Like, I had to do that. And at some points, I find myself still thinking that. So then again comes the part about resistance. And that's where I too am kind of stuck. Finding the resistance. I mean, yeah.
Being aware of it, isn't it, Livia?
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
being
struggle
aware
with.
that it's there. Being aware that it's there.
Yeah.
And getting past that resistance.
Yeah, exactly. I can so relate to that. Jenny, did you have any that you wanted to add to this?
I don't have anything to add.
No, that's fine. Christina, common misconceptions around manifesting?
No, I don't think I have anything to add as well.
Chris, though?
Yeah, definitely. There is definitely a lot of misconception in the. So like I would be part of a mastermind, right? And there's a lot of Bob Proctor people in there, and that'll be very much geared towards like the secret style stuff and all of that, and the obsession and the fixation and stuff. And that's not really my bag. Like I'm not. That's just me, but it works for some people. But for me, again, it just comes back to allowing, being aware, like Livia said, being aware of your potential obsessions and fixations, which I can sometimes get into because I get excited, you know, especially when I see things manifesting, I get more excited, and then it's like you might push it further, you push it to see how quickly you can manifest it, you know. But I suppose it's an ebb and flow. It's back and forth. It's kind of like you remind yourself, wait a second, let go. Okay, now I need to move. Because it's kind of like left brain to right brain, the divine masculine, divine feminine, push forward, surrender, you know. And I suppose the sweet spot for manifestation is somewhere in between there. But both sides are necessary, you know. But I think the secret kind of pushes the masculine side of just, actually no, I don't know, because the secret also is like more airy fairy, like, oh, just wish it will happen and it will happen. But you know, so I don't know. Yeah, sweet spots just in the balance and allowing just alignment, coming back to alignment. I think sometimes the misconceptions put us out of alignment because we're either forcing or just waiting for things to happen. That's it.
Yeah, it's always coming back to balance, isn't it? And it's always like trying to maintain, like, yeah, like what you were saying about the alignment and that balance. It's, why is it so hard to maintain? But yeah, so Yasmin, did you want to add to this?
I think that's a really good summary of the main ones. But it's usually really cerebral when we talk about manifestation. It's like you have to think about it. And for me, what I've found it to be is related to feeling much more than anything. And it's like sometimes you really think that you need something or want it. And I really do see that as like I'm going to step in and I'm going to tell creation it's not good enough. And I actually need this, this, and this. And I'm always shown to be wrong in that instant. So it's broken me down and allowed me to, now I just follow the compass of excitement. I know what's going to happen because of how excited I am about it. I don't care about the outcome. I'm not thinking, oh, this is going to sign up this many people or this is going to happen. I'm just so excited about it. And that is just so, like, it magnifies and it draws the things in. So I'm going to kind of follow that.
Yeah. Eleanor?
Yeah, my brain's going a bit crazy around this. I feel there's like a bit of a contradiction too about how you have to obsess and put action and do so much towards what you want to manifest. But then there's also you just kind of put out there what you want to manifest and then you let go. Like you're not in control of how. Don't obsess over the how is it going to happen. So yeah, I really think it's about being like finding the balance and just being neutral about it. But also, I've heard someone say that they think manifestation is evil, like there's some bad energy around manifestation. And I don't know, I really feel in my heart that if something's meant to be for us, it will be for us and it will come to us. And we just need to trust and surrender that, and even trust in the bad things that happen to us too. Like there's a greater purpose for all of that. But yeah, finding the balance and wanting something, but making sure that it's something you're really passionate about and like something you really, really want. And then surrendering and trusting and letting go and not obsessing over how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?
Thank you. Yeah, no, that actually reminded me of where did I hear this? I actually can't remember where I heard this now, but I was told, I can't even remember when or who or how I heard this, but this is just like really stuck in my head actually and resonated with me, that like you also do have to put in the work in some sense when you're trying to manifest something that, like you were saying, Elena, that you're passionate about, and something that really resonates with you, something that you really kind of want to that's going to better your life or better yourself, you know, is that you have to meet the universe halfway. So like what you were saying, you can't just like wish for it and then it's gonna and expect it to come, but at the same time, like you're saying, like you can't obsess over like how, and you know, like putting too much in. And yeah, so that kind of made me think about that actually. I think it's a really, really fair point to say that obviously like balance always does come into the answer, and being in alignment, as you say, Christo. That really resonated with me. But yeah, I think that these were some really good conclusions, and that's it for today. But I say this every week, yeah, so take to the floor if you ever want to like hold space, or you ever want to suggest some topics, just let me know and the floor is all yours. So yeah, thank you so much for joining, guys.